All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakak, Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. We out here once again. We're going to get right into it. As you can see in the title, America is trapped in this war. All right, America is trapped in this war. And that's all pertaining to biblical prophecy. All right, because when you look at the situation that's going on and how it's transpiring, they're pretty much in a position to where they keep on telling you 4 to 6 weeks, a couple more weeks, because they're trying to figure out, what's the next thing to do here. And that's why putting somebody like Trump in there was a perfect decision, because he's the kind of guy that he can't accept defeat. All right, so they're not, because this is what happens, right? If they end up accepting so-called defeat, and they say, okay, we're gonna acquiesce to Iran's demands and whatnot, because remember, Iran is like, we're not about to agree to a ceasefire. We have our demands that need to be met, right? We have stipulations that we want. We want reparations, okay, and they want a lot of money, in terms of reparations, not just for the war, but for all the years that they've had to suffer at the hand of sanctions and so on from the United States, right? So they're saying that they want reparations. Number one, they're saying they want the U.S. to permanently leave the Middle East, pack your shit up and leave, basically, right? No more bases, no more none of that. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is, if the U.S. was to say, okay, well, the war is causing an energy crisis, and we're losing a lot of money, and there's not a sentiment. There's not a American support for this war. Let's agree to Iran's conditions. That would mean that they leave. Why? First off, why were they there in the first place? Right? Because they were providing support to these Gulf countries in return for the use of the petrodollars, right? In the sense that they would sell their oil and so on in U.S. dollars. So there's a great economic hit to the U.S. that they would take if they leave those if they leave the Middle East, because now the bases that they set up to so-called protect these Gulf countries, it disappears. And what does that leave them at? That leaves those countries vulnerable to Iran. And Iran then says, look, now you listen to us. Okay? You under us. And at that point, Iran ain't gonna say, yeah, continue selling your resources in dollars. Of course not. So that's gonna affect what is the so-called United States hegemony. Okay? And on top of that, it's gonna cause their European allies to say, wait, hold on a second. So if you backing up from a war with Iran, then how do we know that you're gonna be able to, you can't really do much then. You tout yourself as this big world superpower, and you retreated from a war against Iran. Meanwhile, we out here helping your ass help the Ukrainians against the Russians. Well, why should we keep on doing that? So it basically sends everything downhill for the U.S. Even if they were to say, okay, now we want to retreat, because there's underlying effects of that a lot of average people don't really foresee. But now, if they were to say, no, we're going to continue in this war, then they realize that this war isn't something that you can just you can just continue to fly over and just drop bombs. That's what they keep saying. Oh, we'll just bomb them into submission. It doesn't work that way. How's that been working out for you? They're realizing that, both them and the world is starting to take a greater hit than Iran, which is actually getting hit by those missiles. So that's why now they're saying, oh, we're going to go and take Karg Island. Because Karg Island is like, it's literally the largest, I believe, oil source for Iran. So it's like 90% of their oil is exported from there. So if the U.S. was to go up in there and take it over, yeah, they would deal a major crippling blow to Iran. The problem is, how are you gonna do that? The second you land over there, they're gonna say, yeah, okay, you're gonna meet some troops and you're gonna meet missiles and drones, and they're gonna keep on pummeling your ass. And they've already started attacking those U.S. bases over there. So it's hard. It's like, where do you even land your troops to then start sending them up in there? Because and Iran could say, well, you know what? We'll stay on our coast, and then we'll keep bombing your ass onto that island over there. And then you're gonna get tired of that, and you're gonna realize that the only way, because you land on the island, but you can't stay there. It's like Call of Duty. You respawn and you get spawn camp. You know, the second the troops land, boom, there's a mine, boom, there's a missile, boom, there's a drone. It's like, damn, we can't do anything on here. We got to stop them from attacking us. How you stop them from attacking you? Now you got to go over there to their land. You got to go up onto the coast, and then you got to go up into those mountains. History will tell you. I believe one of the seven wonders of the world. That's what it's called. One of the seven wonders of the world, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was yeah, I forget the exact thing, but I thought it was somehow related to the Zagros Mountains, which goes back to the that same terrain where Iran is at, right? Going back to the time of the Medes. Okay, so it's notorious for being like a natural shield, and it's very difficult. Look, the Romans had a terrible, a hard time coming up against Jerusalem because of the terrain. It was a hill country, so you are fighting an uphill battle, which is always much more difficult because the enemy has the height advantage. You got to work your way upward. Okay, it's now 10 times, or a certain proportionate or improportionate amount times worse when you try to go up into a place like Iran. And Russia is not going to sit there and say, "Yeah, let that happen." They're waiting. The reason Putin hasn't, because the Russians and the Chinese, they're helping Iran. It's not secret news that they're helping Iran. They're just not doing it in the sense of sending troops over there because they don't need to do that yet. They're gonna come in there when they need to come in there, but they know they're waiting. They're waiting, and that I wouldn't be surprised if the second, or not the second, but shortly after the U.S. goes into that full ground invasion, don't be surprised if China takes Taiwan and Russia wipes out Ukraine. And when I say wipe out, I don't mean like blow them off the map. I mean just completely wrap it up, because they're gonna see that the U.S. has spread itself thin. So you can't fight all these battles at once. Where are you going to be delegating the troops to go and defend Taiwan, and then the ones that are going to go and continue to support Ukraine, because they're already taking away artillery from Ukraine to go and support the Israel-Iran war. And that's what happened to Rome. Rome spread itself too thin. It couldn't fight all these battles, and then the western part fell to the Germanic tribes. They lost in the east to the Parthians, and it's like a repeat of that. Okay, except it's going to be much more devastating in this time. And those so-called global elites, they know this. That's why they're playing what they call 6D chess, 6-dimensional chess. They're moving pieces to where no matter what decision you make, it's going to be a crisis either way. That's where they want to be at. Let's get some precepts on that. Let's start with 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter from the top, because ultimately we know, and also Zephaniah 3. My determination is to gather the nations, that the Lord is doing all this. He's orchestrating all this to what? To gather these nations to that region and to bring about that war. Right? Joel, the 2nd chapter. And we're seeing these prophecies, these prophetic events play out live. And now you're really seeing, and you're going to see even more, how literal Luke 17:26 was or is. That just like in the days of Noah, they did eat, they did drink, they did giving. You thinking, yo, the rain is coming down, and y'all niggas still, y'all still don't get it. Look around you, it's the same thing right now. Right now, the rain is coming down, and people still don't get it. They're still going about living life like everything is all sweet. It's crazy. It's crazy to see, but hey, it's reality. Got that one, yeah.
Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord.
And that's what we're doing. We're waiting, and we've been waiting on the Lord for years. Right? But it's the Lord that's taking action. So we gotta wait upon the Lord. It tells you that in Song of Solomon, right? Wake not my love till he please. So we gotta wait until the Lord puts these things in motion, and now we're seeing him move these things in motion. So what are we gonna wait on the Lord to do?
Until the day that I rise up to the prey.
And how does the Lord start to rise up to the prey? When you look at a lion, for example, when they go hunting, they spot the prey, they have their formations, and then they slowly creep up and creep up and creep up until they're in range. Or they wait for the prey to come to a certain area. Once they're in range, then they actually rise up, okay, to like actually attack. So we are lying in wait. We're waiting upon the Lord until he rises up to the prey. And he likens these nations onto the prey. The number one prey is Babylon. Right?
Until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nation.
And when you go into that word determination, basically it's going into the sentence of the Lord. Like a judge gives out his decree or his sentence. The Lord's determination, what he has determined, the sentence he has given is gather the nations, which you're seeing happening now, over there into what the region the world calls the Middle East. And now, I'm going to go into the article, but you have the Houthis that just basically joined in, officially just joined in the war. That's what it is. It starts with a conflict that expands into a regional war, that expands into a world war. Go and look at World War I, go and look at World War II. The same orchestrators behind those two wars are the same ones pulling the strings behind this third one. Right?
That I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation.
Right. So the Lord is assembling these kingdoms into that region so he can pour upon them his indignation. What is his indignation? His anger. And how is he going to do that? By escalating it into a nuclear war. Right?
Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy.
And the word earth in Hebrew goes back to the word aratazah, which means land. When you look into the definition of that, today when people hear earth, they think of the entire planet. But when you read the scriptures, you got to use context. Earth doesn't always mean the entire planet. So that part is talking about there's specific lands, specific portions that the Lord is going to completely obliterate. And it tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes that the earth abideth forever. Let's get that in Second Esdras.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, the Lord made that promise that he wouldn't destroy the whole earth again. That was by water, but specifically he said, I will not destroy the whole earth. So he's going to destroy, like you were saying, certain parts of the earth. Sorry, not destroy, but spend fire on certain parts of the earth, specifically Babylon.
That's right. Right. It's like, it's almost mind-boggling because it's like you're living in a country that's actually involved in a world war right now. And everything is just all sweet. It's all sweet out here. You know? It's crazy, but that's what the Lord is going to bring, that shock. That's that sudden destruction.
Sure. But just to add to your point, not only are you getting ready to step into a war, already are in a war, but also the things that are different now is that essentially you have nuclear armament, right? It's not like back in the day when it was boots on the ground. Now, yeah, you're going to have boots on the ground as well. But now you can just push a button and have something that has so much power in it to just devastate a whole entire piece of the earth and just wipe out a whole city or wipe out cities just like that, just by the push of a button. And there's millions of them that these things are made. So this type of war is not like, the conventional wars that you had back then, boots on the ground. No, this is shooting off missiles that will destroy, that will level a city. Right? I believe that's, what is that? Isaiah? I don't know. Get it.
9 and 5?
That's it.
This one shall be forward burning and fuel of fire. Yeah, 9 and 5. Because that's what, like the brother's saying, it's going to escalate into. But they're gonna send them in there. They're gonna send them in there. Look. All right. Here's the reality, and this has always been the reality. They don't ever tell you what's going on what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, there's always two stories. Even your favorite characters, when you were a kid, you go and watch them, and they do them little plays. They put on the little mask and little costume and shit. When they go behind set and they take off the little big ass bunny head, there's a nigga in there sweating, pissed off, with a 5 o'clock shadow on his face. 5 o'clock shadow is that dark, it looks like a beard, but it's not. He got bags under his eyes, just pissed the hell off. Probably a mean looking dude too. He wanted, damn, bro, why you wearing a pink bunny costume? But that he goes on the stage, he does the smiling shit and all that shit. But behind the scenes, he's throwing this shit, he's pissed off. So that's really what's going on right now. They're showing you this cover story. Oh, negotiations are going great. Oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. You just caused another escalation in this war. And that's exactly what they like. Look at what they do. That's what we keep saying. Listen to what they say, but look at what they do. So if somebody comes up to you with a knife and says, "Oh, I love you so much," and they keep stabbing you in vital organs, what are you going to say? You going to say, "Oh, no, I mean, I'm dying right now, but they love me, so maybe they love me." No, you going like that's why they say actions speak louder than words, right? But yes, people always forget that when it comes to actions by their own governments. They're showing you by their actions there's not an end to this war. It's going to escalate more and more and more. And it isn't until you feel the ground underneath your feet shaking and you hear your right ear or your left ear goes, when you hear that white noise from a loud explosion, that's what's going to set people back into reality.
So,
Yeah, that, and then somebody, hey, we gotta go, oh shit, what the hell is going on? Yeah, that when people are disoriented, that's gonna set them back into reality. You're gonna be there, you're gonna be in class, you're gonna be at work, you're gonna be walking down the street, doing some dumb shit, smoking weed on the block somewhere, and all of a sudden, boom, oh shit, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Hey, your mind is going all 10, 20 different places at once.
that's how 911 was.
Mhm.
It was a regular day. Nobody was thinking anything crazy. And then just out of nowhere, people saw the planes crash into the building. I remember watching certain videos of people when they saw that when I was younger, and you just hear women say, "Oh my God," and when they see the thing going in, it's like, yeah, but mind you, people were waking up. That was just a regular day. Nothing was gonna happen. Like how you see right now, although you're not seeing on the camera, people walking around like nothing, and then just like that, something catastrophic happened. And even on these smaller scales, those mass shootings that happen and things like that, it's a regular day where you're thinking nothing happened, and then out of nowhere, something happened. What is that? Second Thessalonians, when they shall say peace and safety and a sudden destruction coming upon them.
First, that's 5.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I already got it on deck. So,
Oh,
but yeah, just like you said, that's the Black Swan events that they're getting ready. They're getting ready to really revolutionize the world. They're new world orders in phases, and they use world wars to change the world. Okay, it's through conflict that they do that.
I believe it was the mother, I think it was one of the Rothschilds, if I'm not mistaken. She said, my son didn't want any wars, there would be no.
Oh, shit, look at that. They already know. Let's get that to first Thess. You can start at the top. 5.
It's the book of First Thessalonians 5:1, and it reads, "But the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you."
Yeah, and likewise, in our time now, we speak to each other, but really we're preaching to the choir. Because we already know, what times that we're living in now. Right, go ahead.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Right, the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. So real quick, let's get Luke 17:26. Because that's going to describe the setting of the day of the Lord. And the reason is because, once again, we're tied in with Isaiah, the Lord has purposely blinded the minds of these people, right? Whom the God of this world has blinded. So it's like, once again, I always say this, man, things are escalating, but people are just, but Ezra saw it. And that's why he said, yet for all these things, they shall not be mindful of the scourges. Because he saw people still being adamant in this ignorant mindset, in this ignorant lifestyle. Oh, so you got that? All right, let's get that.
Luke chapter 17 and verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man.
Now, how was it in the days of Noah? Because the scriptures tell you that he was a preacher of righteousness. So the Lord showed Noah in his generation, he was living amongst in a wicked world, and the Lord had mercy and favor on Noah and showed him the destruction the Lord was going to bring, which was going to be to destroy the world with water. And Noah, for a good period of time, while building that ark, warned these people. But did they take heed? No. If they did, they would have been alive, but they didn't. And so what ended up happening to them? They ended up dying. The Most High drowned them. All of them. Babies, grandmas, I got you. Old men, old women, infants, they all got drowned. Now you would say, damn, God drowned. Yeah, he did that. So if he did that back then, what do you think he's going to do to you? You got babies that are wicked from the womb. They come out the mother's womb. You wonder why is this God? Why the hell you pulling the baby out and the nigga not trying to come out? You pull him out and he's doing pull-ups with a freaking mom's placenta and shit. You know?
Stink face.
Yeah, fuck you brought me out this womb for. That freaking baby gonna come out throwing out crip signs and blood signs. How the hell do you even know that? You know? you got somebody gonna roll up a blood. You don't even know how to speak yet. This what but it's that energy that's passed down from the mothers down. Now, obviously, I'm joking about it, but you know, it has truth in it. So they're wicked from the womb, and that's why the Lord's gonna deal with them. Whether you're a baby, you're a grown man, you're a what? Definitely, if you're a woman, a wicked woman. Give me any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Why? Because them wickedness is a different kind of wickedness. You got it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I've been recently reading through the book of Genesis, and when you read about how the Lord made the mist from the dew, basically the reason why people didn't believe in Noah about it gonna rain, right, is because it's not to sit there and say there was no such thing as water. There was water. It's just they never experienced water coming from the sky. But like it tells you in Genesis that the Lord make that mist from the dew come upon the land. And obviously they had water because they were drinking back then as well. So it's not to sit there and say they never saw water. Not to sit there and say this is something new. It's just something that they never experienced. Sorry, I'm going to say snow. Rain coming from the sky. So it's the same thing. It's not to sit there and say people don't know about nuclear missiles. This is not something new. It's just they've never seen like, hey, it's going to actually go nuclear to where it's like, hey, they're actually shooting it off in the sky. Because why? It's something far away. Like, oh, war? Oh, that's on the eastern side of the world. That's never happened already. Yeah? So it's something that they've never seen or experienced themselves. Just like going back to the days of Noah. Not to say that it wasn't there. It's just they had never experienced that during that time.
And it would take faith to believe something like that. You know, but that's why I said these men, they were moved through faith to take these actions. Just like we are moved through faith to come out here and do what we're doing. This is like a spiritual version of building the ark in this time. And when that time comes, that's when you have the Isaiah 65, you know, where you have peace and stability. You know, the Lord is going to bless his servants, but the rest are going to suffer the consequences of disobedience. You know? Oh, yeah, we keep going on that in Luke.
Luke chapter 17, verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man.
Right. So shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. Now, who's the Son of Man? Yahushua. And we're living in the days of the Son of Man. So now we're at the point where people are living in the same, like what happened in the time of Noah, like we just described. He warned them, they didn't listen, and they got destroyed. We're doing the same thing right now. We're warning them, they're not listening, and they're going to be destroyed. And but this time it ain't going to be just, because it doesn't really take that long. You know, you ain't going to spend a day drowning. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to spend a day underwater drowning, you know. But the way the Lord is going to destroy this place is going to be systematic. It's going to be meticulous. It's going to be painful. All right, you're going to feel it on all fronts. And once people start to feel that, really what it is once their daily lives are disrupted, that's the wake-up call. You can't go to work anymore because of this. You can't do that anymore because of this. You can't do this anymore because of this. And people think, oh, you know what? You know, it's just something that happens. No, it's not. It's planned. Because the chief of the IEA, the International Energy Agency, dude came out with a prepped up playbook on how to handle this energy crisis. Meanwhile, you got people warning about how bad it can be. He's already like, look, I already got the playbook for once it gets worse, is what we're doing. And number one on the list, work from home where possible. Basically, they're throwing in them CBIT style lockdowns, but with energy, because they know with that, you can't go to a hospital and say, oh, there's nobody over here. This is TV propaganda. No, this is actually real, you know?
I was going to say, there are some buildings I work at that they already have that where most of the time, you barely see the people come in the building. When you do see them, I'm like, oh, you still working? Because some of them work from home.
Right. Yeah. And then, and then they said, which we might go into that too, but they mentioned limiting driving, you know, limiting, you know, cooking with certain, you know, you basically opt for electric stove. And they might, and that makes it starts to make sense how they can easily push for electric vehicles, you know, from that avenue. Even though there's still a form of energy that's used there, but the direct usage of gas. They also said alternate, basically like license plate permission to drive on the road. So On certain days, cars with certain license plates are permitted to drive, and others are not. Right? You know what I'm saying? So they got all this laid out. They know this isn't gonna be a 4-week thing. They knew it's already been a month since this whole Iran war started, and it's only gonna drag on more and more. Let's keep going on that.
Verse 27, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
So what's that describing? Does that mean you can't eat, can't drink, you can't know? What it's describing is they lived their daily lives as though nothing was going on, up until the very same moment where Noah entered into the ark and they were destroyed. So likewise, rather than realizing, hold on a second, we need to become more alert as to what's going on in the world, they're gonna continue to live their regular lives until a Russian missile lands on a city that they're in. And then, oh shit, what's going on? You know, or they can't eat, or they go to the grocery store and it's empty. Suddenly shall the storehouses be found empty, and the sown places shall be unsown. So you're gonna starve, because that the scripture saying second, I think it's either the 16th chapter or the 6th chapter, that many that dwell on the earth shall perish of famine, and those that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So perilous times are the times that we're in now. But like we just read over there, and then it's gonna go also describe the time of Lot. Because Lot was also warned, and what did the people do? They continued in wickedness until the very same day they were destroyed. You ask that now, Ron?
Yeah, Con, I was going to say real quick, that precept you just quoted in Second Esdras. All right, actually today I saw a video where basically ICE has acquired this big ass detention center. Right, it could hold up to at least 10,000 people. And just a few months ago, we went into a lesson where they had purchased a lot of these ICE facilities that they were going to turn into detention camps, right? And we said through the spirit that that's going to be where they're going to be holding people, right? That's the FEMA camps, but it's disguised as ICE detention centers because that makes more sense today, right? Oh, we're getting all these illegals off the streets. We need a place to keep them and process them and then send them where they got to go. But in reality, that's just a decoy for a place that they're going to be sending American citizens who are deemed domestic terrorists, okay? And a great way to bring this about is this whole energy crisis thing. And I heard y'all brothers was talking about it. And you have even the people in the IEA, they're saying that prepare, right? Even the Department of Homeland Security said have at least supplies, food and water for at least 3 days. At least 3 days. And why just 3 days? Because if you tell people, oh, prepare for at least 3 days, that's subconsciously in their mind, they're thinking, okay, that's 3 days of no one coming to help. So at least after 3 days, then the help is going to come in, right? So it's to sustain us for the next 3 days. But in reality, the 3 days today will be looked at as 5-6 years ago, the 2-week curve. All right. Every time they give you a date that's indefinite, just 3 days, and then it's going to shift to 14 days. It's going to shift to 2 months, that kind of thing. And what they're doing is through the spirit, they are trying to break down the system, the society, the collapse of the society, so much so within a very short time with no food, no water, this whole energy crisis. And what that's going to do is it's going to cause people to want to go to these FEMA camps because we said that they were going to do that. Because if you have no energy, you got no food, no water, you have no shelter, and it's illegal to be homeless because if you're homeless, they're going to arrest you and take you into a camp anyway, right? So they're going to have people going into these camps for food, for shelter, and so on and so forth. Once you go in, you never come back out. Okay, it's a one-way street. You go in, you don't come back out. Door of no return, pretty much. All right, and a lot of people are going to be cooked. I did a lesson on this the other day about the guillotines that they have in these military bases. Okay, so it's everything that we've talked about for all these years. It's all playing out, but you see, it's happening slightly different from how we described it, especially with the terminology that we use. We were using terminology, for example, like martial law. Martial law will happen, but they might not call it martial law. We will be the only ones to recognize it for what it is and say, yo, that's martial law, bro. You see? But because they're not calling it martial law, people are not going to, be alarmed because they're like, well, y'all said martial law is going to come. This isn't martial law because they're not saying it's martial law, right? So the narratives that Esau is going to push is going to combat the truth that we have going on. Even though people are going to be living the reality of what we prophesied years ago, they're going to deem it something else. And that's what's going to cause people to be in that safety mindset, like the days of Noah. Like, yo, all this shit is not normal. Why the fuck are people still acting normal, right? And that's what's going to bring that sudden destruction that comes unawares. All right, but I just want to bring that in that the FEMA camps, they're building that shit right now. And don't be deceived by this whole, oh, the Democrats aren't funding the DHS and the TSA workers. Guess what? All the TSA workers are being sent to those FEMA camps to go run it. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be processing people, checking people, just like they do at the airports. But this time it's going to be for the camps. Okay, and then they're going to have the ICE agents in camps and also in these public airports and so on and so forth to process people from there to those camps. So if you get arrested at an airport, you're not going home. You're going to those camps. And that's how it's going to be. They're going to start rounding the people in slowly but surely with all this energy shit. It's a first open, get the people who are going to be volunteering to bring their ass in here. And then after that, we're going to go after everybody else. We're just going to expand it from suggestion to mandates. Just keep on going from there. We suggest just use less energy. Stay home after a certain time. Don't drive your car, like Bakari was saying. Oh, every other day is going to be different license plates. Next thing you know, it's going to be sweeping laws that everybody just got to deal with. And that's how they're going to play this thing out. But you brothers got it.
All right. That was Sodom. Oh yeah, it'll be done.
Verse 28. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all.
Yeah, and that's showing you the sudden destruction element of the day of the Lord. That people are not going to see it coming. A lot of people are going to be living their regular lives thinking that everything is going to be okay, that they're going to make it through it. We've been through things like this before, and no, they don't see that this is different. This time around, when this ends, everything ends. This doesn't end with, this war goes on for years and years and years, and then, eventually certain nations band together, and then, a new global kind of coalition forms, and then, there's peace in the world again. No. This thing takes an unexpected turn. The car you in right now is about to take a detour off the road. You know what I'm saying? It's about to go off the road, do a complete 180, and land in the ocean somewhere. And then you end up on an island that you don't even recognize. Because people going to go from, how did we go from a world war to an alien invasion? You know what I'm saying? So now people getting taken over. Places getting taken over. And now you are under, literally the world is going to be under it's going to be a kingdom. The Lord is going to transform the world into a kingdom. Last week we had a freaking multipolar world, and now there's a kingdom, and we got a God's ruling over us. What the hell? How the hell did this happen? That's really where it's going to end. Once things get so bad you can't go to work anymore, you're never going back to that job again. All right, it's not happening.
Yeah, good point. Essentially, everybody can see that this is essentially going to lead to the end of America. And I was watching that professor, I think his name is Chang, and he was going into Pax Judea.
Balaam.
Oh, you call him Balaam. I was watching the video of this.
The thing you be out here low-key prophesying.
Yeah.
The prophet.
Okay. All right, whatever. But basically, he was going into Pax Judaica, and his belief is that he thinks that from this war, Israel is going to rise. Now, he's not wrong. He's not right, but in a way, you can kind of see where he's going. Where he is kind of right that essentially Israel is going to rise from it, but not the Israel that he's thinking of. Because the way he sees it is that he sees it, the Israelis are letting America get into this war, so that way, what? That the prophecy of he doesn't say that, but basically Isaiah the 2nd chapter. It comes to pass where, Israel will be that government on top and things like that. Right? Just to keep it very simple and basic and very simple. What he doesn't realize that, yes, America is going to go down. He's not the only one that has said that as well, because other people have said they can't understand why did America start this? Like, why did you do this? There was no reason for this. So everybody can see it. This is going to lead to the end of America, and he's getting into that, or he gets into that in his Pax Judaica video, but what he's wrong at is that those are not the true people of the Lord. Those are not the Israelites, right? That's where the Lord has us come in to give you the full understanding what the scripture is going on about, right? Because yes, eventually America will be destroyed, but it's also going to lead to also those people living in the land of Israel today. It's going to lead to their destruction as well, because they're not the people of the Lord either. So this all is going to lead to Babylon going down. And yes, it will lead to the true Israelites being brought up, but not who you think it is.
That's the second into the fifth chapter. They whom the world look not for shall rule. And that's what's gonna happen. Because I mean, think about it, right? Like, like how who would think that? Who would think that? They're gonna be like, wait, hold on. Of all the people on the earth right now, you got Russia, you got China, you got, you know, these alliances, these nations, and you're talking about people that don't even have a government of their own are gonna rule. But it's gonna be possible. They're gonna see the reality when Yahweh Shai comes back. That's Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. When they see the strangeness of his salvation, then they're gonna understand how it's gonna be possible. Because it's gonna exactly, it's gonna be a different kind of rule than they've ever seen before. So they can't even imagine it. But guess what? We see it clear as day. And the scriptures say concerning Yahweh Shai, first and foremost, right, that people shall be willing in the day of thy power. It ain't just gonna be his people. The entire world ain't gonna have no choice but to be willing.
I'm on the outside. Another point, because like I was saying, niggas, because that's what they look at us as. It's like, niggas is going to be saved. Niggas is going to be ruling the world. Don't think of it, oh, just black. No, it's niggas. It's even the same thing. Like one guy comes to mind is, I think I sometimes mess up saying his last name, but the guy who's in charge of End Time Headlines, Ricky Scaparo. It's the same thing, like, you know, his whole thoughts and all Jesus and all this type of stuff. It's like, he can't fathom the fact, niggas understand the Bible. Niggas have, what do you mean God is dealing with Nick? They can't fathom that. So it's like, it's going to be ruined. Hell no, you guys, because all we're looked at as slaves. You guys were brought here. Yeah, you guys went through your stuff. But yeah, you guys are just basketball players. We're just looked at as entertainers, just the lowest of the low. Like you guys, yeah, you're a little fun to be around. You're a little cool. But when it comes to more serious things, stay in your spot. Don't try to handle this type of stuff.
See you later. That was it on that?
Mhm.
No, look.
Verse 30 says, even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
And what is that thus? The same way when everybody, like during the time of Noah, during the time of Lot, they were living their lives like everything is all sweet, and then boom, everything changed, right? Now jump to what we got over there. Isaiah. Now let's go to Isaiah 6, and then we'll jump back to 1 Thessalonians. Because the Lord did say it. So we're not surprised by the things that are happening. It's just a different feel when you see it happening in real time. You know, when you start to see prophecy no longer being something you see through faith, through your mind's eye, but it's now tangible. You know, it's like it's right before you. You're literally living in it. You're hearing people talking about it. You know, you're seeing the pages line up and be in sync with the world today. That's a different feeling. You know, and for us, we already know it's coming, so we understand it better, right? When people tell us these things, and when we start to see, okay, this is happening here, this is happening here, it's like, okay, it's finally time. For us, it's not an uncertain thing. We're not confused as to like, well, what could this possibly mean? No, we know what it means. We know exactly what it means. We've been waiting for it for a long, long time. So you're damn right we know exactly what it means. Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah.
Yeah, I was to say, that's why it says in Amos 8:11, they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, shall not find it. It never talks about us walking, seeking to and fro to find the word of the Lord. It talks about them, those that don't understand the word, them seeking to and fro.
Exactly.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 6 and 9, and it reads, and he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not.
And that's why right now they're in that blinded state. They're hearing us speak, but they don't understand what we're saying. And they're seeing us talk, but they don't perceive that we're warning them for the times that we're coming into now. People think life is going to continue on normally, but it's not. Your world is about to change very soon. Okay? And we're going to see them in that. It's funny because we're going to see these same people in that time, but it's going to be a whole complete predicament, a complete shift, right? Because a lot of them are going to be in miserable case. Yo, wasn't that guy, that security guy that used to always be around? Yeah. Damn. Look what the Lord did to him. That's the case that you're going to be in, man. All right? Yeah, hell yeah. A lot of them scoffers, man, you probably going to see them in their aftermath. You know? And then a lot of people are going to be begging for mercy. They're going to be asking like, oh, what do we do? What's going on? but we're not gonna be in the time to give answers. Yeah, like we like. What do you mean? What are we gonna do? What are you gonna do? God,
Verse 10, make the heart of this people fat and make their ears heavy and shut their eyes, lest they see with their ears and hear with their ears.
yep, and that's exactly what it is right now. The Lord has shut their spiritual eyes, so they can't see. They hear us speaking, but they don't see it spiritually. They don't understand what's really going on in the spirit. That's why they can't foresee the danger that's coming to them. It's right in front of them, but they can't foresee it. It's like a car that's coming to you, and you can see clearly this guy don't look like his brakes are working, but he's still standing in the way. No, it's a red light. He's gonna stop, bitch.
And understand with their heart and convert and be healed.
Yeah. So the Most High doesn't want certain people to be healed. That's as plain as that. You know what? People are gonna find out the true nature of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. See, a lot of people under a misconception that the Lord has to be a certain way. He has to be the way you picture him to be. No, there's only one Most High. And trust and believe he is not what majority of people think he is. Absolutely not. A lot of the world do not know, less than whatever fraction the elect are of the entire world, know who the Most High truly is. A lot of people don't know the characteristics of the Lord. They don't know. If they understood, they would have feared. The world would be under a different kind of mindset if they did. But a lot of them don't. Guess what? Here's an example. He just said, I don't want these people to be healed. I want them to stay blinded so I could destroy them painfully. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Khan. I was going to get a quick precept here. The book of Matthew, chapter 11, and that actually feeds right into what your brother just brought out. All right, that same generation that Yahushua is referring to is this generation that we're living in right now. Okay, this is a book of Matthew, chapter 11, start from verse 15. It says, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. And that's talking about spiritual ears, because most people, I don't think many people that you see don't have physical ears. Like it's a thing. If you see somebody without physical ears, it's something you're going to want to look at even more, because it's considered an abnormality. It's not normal to have somebody walking around with no ears, right? So it's like you weren't born like this, or something must have happened. So clearly everybody has ears. So Yahushua is saying, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. It's talking about him that has the spiritual ability to understand, not just hear what I'm saying, but understand what I'm saying. Let them understand what I'm saying. It's not for everyone. Basically, that's what he's talking about, right? Verse 16 says, but whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows, right? And that's basically people who don't really have nothing much going on besides gossiping and having fun and just playing around, like rose up to play Israelites type shit, right? It says, and saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. Meaning, we brought out everything in the scriptures. We brought out the glorifying parts of the scriptures. We brought out the lamenting parts of the scriptures. We brought out the history parts of the scriptures. We brought out the prophecy parts. And you niggas did not react how you're supposed to react, except for the elect. Okay? It says, for John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he hath a devil. Okay? Because in other words, no matter how we present this word to you, you niggas always have an issue. The Lord sent John, who is a forerunner of Yahushua, and then what do? You turn around and say, oh, this nigga got a devil on him, he's drinking. Right? It says the Son of Man, John came without not drinking. They say, oh, he got a devil on him. He's not drinking, he's not doing the things that we normally would do, right? The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a man gluttonous and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children. In other words, you're going to know wisdom based on people's reaction, based on how people speak, what they do, and so on and so forth. And clearly, if we're giving you words of advice, words of life, and you're turning it down and pushing back on it, clearly, you're an example of somebody who doesn't have wisdom. Okay? You are the walking example of somebody without wisdom. All right? And what's going to happen to people like that? Let's read. It says, then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. He says, verse 21, woe unto thee, Chorazin, woe unto thee, Bethsaida, for if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Zidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. And why did the Lord reference Tyre and Zidon? Because those two cities were known to be very fucking wicked. All right. The people over there were exhibiting a lot of wickedness. And the Lord said, even for their wickedness, if they were to hear this word, they would have repented. But you niggas, this was going to come for you, right? But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Zidon at the day of judgment than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. And we know what Sodom was all about. I mean, them niggas in Sodom was telling Lot, yo, bring them angels out so we may know them. That's how bad it was, man. All right. They were like, or something like, yo, let's bum rush this house. Let's get in there. Let's go grab these men out. And then Lot said, yo, I got 2 daughters that haven't been touched. You could have them. Do whatever you want to do with them. Just leave these men alone. They said, nah, fuck that. We don't want the girls. We want those men. That's crazy work. Okay. And then what did the angels do? They grabbed Lot in there, smote them niggas with blindness and say, yo, get out. We got to destroy this place. All right. So imagine that kind of heat that the Lord brought with that anger that he felt with those angels and what they went through in the land of Sodom. And the scriptures tell you that this America here is going to be worse because all those people Yahushua was cursing out back there, they all back here in America to receive that judgment. Okay. Because that judgment the Lord is talking about didn't happen back there. It's going to happen now. It's going to happen this time here in America. Okay. It says here, verse 24, but I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. Why? Because the land of Sodom is still there till today. Okay, it's left in sulfur and ashes, but it's still there. America is not going to be recognized. It's just going to be desert land once it's done. Once the Lord is done away with this place, from what it is now as that so-called great empire to what it's going to be as just a desert where no man lives. That's like, wow, this place was once a great country. Literally, that's what we're going to be saying. And now you fly over and you just see like just a vast land, just desert, just pitch black. It's not like desert, like, you know, you go to like the Sahara Desert, you have brown sand. Now it's going to be pitch black, like soil that is dead. You can't grow anything from this land. Like it's completely devoid of any nutrients, any life whatsoever. That's why it says the devil shall dwell there, the satyrs and so on and so forth. Those are creatures that don't, they're pretty much like scavengers. Like they live off of like scavenged land. They don't live like normal people. You can't cultivate land, crops over here. The air is going to be polluted over here. That's why the Lord secluded this place. It's going to be on the west. Okay. So once it's done, once the Lord is done with this mission, America is not going to be somewhere where people want to go live. Nah. Now the new American dream is to get the fuck up out of America. That's the new American dream. All right. So yeah, man, the Lord already prophesied that the destruction of this place as a result of the wickedness of the inhabitants of this land. And that goes all the way back 2,000 plus years ago during the time of the Roman Empire, because America is Rome revived all over again. All right. Y'all brothers got it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, just like the brother said, man, history repeats itself because the scriptures say that the Lord changes not. You know, so if the things that pissed him off, you know, in the time of Lot and the time of Noah, those same things piss him off now. You know, but except now they take it to extremes, and so they're gonna see the nature of the Lord, and they're gonna see it very quickly. Let's go back to that. Oh, you got something? Go ahead.
Got a good point. Oh, no, that's the point.
It'll come back. And that's why the Lord said in Isaiah the 6th chapter that he's purposely blinded these people, you know, so they don't convert, and then he doesn't have to heal them, and then that way they can stay in their sins and then die in their sins.
Oh yeah. So the Most High says he changes not. So what makes you think that if he got pissed off at the thing, that the wickedness before, he doesn't get pissed off at it now?
Right.
And it's happening on an even greater scale now.
Yeah. Got it.
This is Isaiah 6 and 11, and it reads, "Then said I, Lord, how long?" And he answered.
So Isaiah was asking, well, Lord, you saying that, you know, I should speak this against these people, but how long is it going to be the case? How long are they going to stay blinded and their ears heavy and their hearts fat, so they don't hear and believe your words? Go ahead.
And he answered, "Until the cities be wasted without inhabitants, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate."
And that's basically until the time of judgment comes, because that's the whole point. The Lord is holding them blind until the time of judgment comes. And in this time, that's going to be a great devastating judgment, a great wrath of the Heavenly Father. Go ahead.
And the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsakening in the midst of the land.
Yeah, because back in this time, it tells you that, like in Isaiah the 13th chapter, right? There shall every man flee to his own country. They shall be as a chased roe, you know, and that's what it's going to be like. Everybody for themselves. That's the survival instinct that kicks into people's minds, you know, when shit starts hitting the fan. And that's the times that we're going right back to. And a lot of people are not prepared for that. You know, I forgot what I think I was watching Survivor, right? A TV show on CBS. You know, and you look at these people that get on there, you know, and especially when they get to the challenges, you have some of them that are like active, you know, they're actually like healthy, you know, they're able to move. And you have some of them that you just look at them and you're like, yo, like I can see you giving it your all, but you ain't moving. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not moving, and your whole tribe is pissed off because you're losing the challenge for them. But you look at it like, damn, if this is like a game contest for $1 million, you're afraid that you're gonna get voted off because you sucked at the challenge. How much more for when your life is on the line? And I look at like how they run, you know, even their posture and everything. I'm like, bruh, like you're not gonna do that during Jacob's trouble, man, and think that you're gonna be all right. Think you're doing something in JT. All right, you may, you know, I mean, you may have a chance because a lot of these people are unhealthy anyway, you know. So you're freaking predator, damn dude that's chasing you, he might run out of breath before you, or he might not. And sometimes you can't be fooled. Sometimes there's some dudes that look like big backs, but they fast as hell. You know, you wondering what's going on here. Dude look like Drewski, and he's faster than Usain Bolt. You're like, whoa, hold on. Something's not adding, the image and the movement is not adding up right here. You know? So you think you underestimate him, and you're like, this nigga got the car. You know? What's in his legs? You know?
You see some dude running up to you like Walter from fucking Get Out. Dude, big ass dude chasing.
They run that military run. They cut corners and shit. Yo, it's like, yo, nah, he got that. That's how you know he got demons on him. Them demons are activated. That's not no superhuman strength. That's demonic strength. You know, hit the gas. You know, but that's gonna be them little Michael Myers scenes, the movies from Jason and Michael Myers, those little scary movies. The Lord and the angels are gonna be watching real life edition of scary movies on the earth in different pockets. You know, I think Haran, you mentioned that years ago you had a dream like that where you said that you were in like it's like you were high up and you could just see all hell had broken loose, and you could just see different visions of like different calamities befalling people in certain areas. I think you said one of them there was like a family driving somewhere and they came up against this like gang. They look like Benjamites with machetes and shit. You know, stop the car, like, yo, boom, boom, you know, stop the car. They see some fine shit in there. You know, and that's just like one scene of many different things that are going on around the world. You know, that's gonna be reality. Everywhere somebody's going through some shit that they can't get out of through carnal means. Eventually you're gonna run out of bullets. Okay? Eventually you're gonna run out of food. Eventually, your as it says, friends shall fight one against another like enemies. Sometimes that plays out with people that you have been surviving with for the past like week or two. And then shit gets tough, and now they become your enemy. And it's worse because they know a lot more about you. They know where the secret hideout is. They know where the weapon stash is. And usually when somebody's about to turn on the person, they take measures ahead. They'll go and move the guns from where it should be. You know what I'm saying? They'll go and store up the food in the car somewhere. And then when a disagreement happens, they already got everything set up. You're like, damn, you implying this for a minute. Yeah. Desperation will have people doing that. People you thought you could trust. And you're like, yo, this guy, my homeboy, got a freaking knife to my throat right now trying to kill me. You know? That's the reality that people are about to face. Through what? Through desperation. So now let's actually, matter of fact, you got a possible on there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go real quick, 2 Ezra 15. And then you can drop this and we'll get the article. And these are the things that we foresee. Okay, we see these things because it's just, that's what happens in times of chaos. That's what's prophesied to happen. Got it. Yeah.
2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak down the ears of my people, the words of prophecy.
And that's what we're doing. And a lot of the prophecies the Lord has spoken to these people is warnings. It's saying, hey, repent. If not, you're going to suffer this judgment. That's it. There's no way around it. And it's pretty simple, actually. You know what I'm saying? It's actually very simple. Repent or else face judgment. That's it. If you really want to sum up what our message is to people, all right, it's these two things. It's like the red pill, blue pill. All right, repent or face judgment. What's it going to be? You decide. Go ahead.
Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
So the Lord is the one who's put the Spirit on us to come and speak these words. Go ahead.
And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
So we have the words here today because the Lord has preserved them. Like in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, the Lord put the Spirit on Ezra to recount all the things that have been from the beginning. Why? Because he said, Lord, we have it now in our minds, but the law is burnt. So what happens to those that come after us? How are they going to find their way? The former things that are that are for their learning, where is that going to come from? See? So the Lord had him recount all those things and cause it to be written down for us in these last days. But now the Lord has given us the key. It's like having that chest. You know, you've had it for so long, you've had to protect it for so long, but now we have the key. We've been able to open up the chest. We've been able to get the knowledge from it. And so we have it now. You know? And that's the beautiful thing about this truth is that the key isn't something that anybody can have. You know, it's like that episode, the Kung Fu Panda movie, where he did all that for the scroll, right? And he finally opened the scroll, and it shit him blank. You're like, what? He had even the Shifu, the tiny little, I forgot what creature he is. He had even him dumbfounded. He's like, no, I can't look at that. Give me that shit. And he looking all around, and she's like, yo, this joint is empty. He said, oh, this Grandmaster done lied to us this whole time. Everybody was fighting for the scroll. It was like heavily protected. Come to find out, the scroll is damn near empty, but it really wasn't empty because it was a reflection. You know, when Poe, that's his name, his fat ass, when he looked at the scroll, eventually he came to understand that whole power and this, it gives you that, it's really something that only a certain few who have, let's just say, a divine revelation will be able to understand. Why is it empty? And why was that so important? You know, because people are so used to something has to be tangible. You know, tangible. You know, you tell them about the supernatural. No. Even if it's in their favor, you'd be like, damn. Like, even if you didn't anticipate something supernatural happening, wouldn't you at least in your mind think I would rather something like that happening? Because if that's not the case, you got people that don't believe the chariots are real. Listen, bro, you see the missiles are real, right? So when they come and they hit this land, would you not at least hope that the chariots would be real? Because if not, where do you think we all going, buddy? We all gonna die. But you know what? The mythical things that are not real, those are the things they hope for to be real. You got a dude that'll come in here and argue with you that hell is a real place. No. It has to be real. Like, what you mean it has to be real? Do you want to go to hell? No. So why are you fighting so hard for it? That's the reverse mentality of these people. They deal with reverse logic. Where we at? Oh, 2nd Ezra 15, right? And if Russ got anything else too, you can bring it up. And here, you can look at this, go to this right here. No. Got it.
Verse 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee.
Yeah, we're not worried about the unbelief of these people, you know, because whether you believe or not really doesn't do anything for us, right? Think about it. Like you would go through the depths of hell and heaven to try and make somebody a believer. But what does that do for you? Does it mean the second that they believe, now you're automatically fed in a famine? No. So why would their unbelief be any different? You're not the one who's going to take care of us in that time. The Lord is. So that's what Peter said, right? We ought to obey God rather than men. Because what the hell is man going to do for you in a famine but try to eat you, you know, or kill you? Fuck. Yeah, right. You ain't going to do shit for me. We both going to be in the same situation. You're going to hunger just like I'm going to hunger. The only difference is I'm not going to be on the Titanic while it's sinking. I can tell you, I told you so while I'm on the lifeboat, you know, and while you over there on the Titanic sinking, we both going to be on the same mental page, but not on the same physical page. And that's okay. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of these people. Eventually, the whole world will be on the same playing field when it comes to reality. The difference there is going to be who's getting judged and who's getting delivered. And that's going to be the painful part. When people start coming up to you, I got you, they're going to start coming up to you, and you can expect that. Yo, did you hear that? This is what's going on, nigga. What do you think? What do you think? Man, no, I don't think I heard it. Please tell me about it. Yeah, bro, and yo, the way I see things going, bro, hey, it's looking like they might come out with this implant. I was watching this video. They're going to come to you to come and tell you, I was watching this video of some guy talking about them bringing implants, and I think that's what they're going to do, bro. So, you know, you might want to be careful about that.
So what is that? What you think it is?
Yeah, what you think it is?
Now, that's what you start doing. Because, you know, one type of people I could think of that's going to do that is my family. Specifically, my father. I'm Slocky. Because I know I always, like Aharambi said, I'll be putting them on blast, but I can already imagine them coming. So what you think? What you think this is? Don't ask me that question. Because when I told you what it was, I told you certain things, you looked at me like I'm a damn asshole. So now you tell me what this means or what that means. Maybe we should go to Africa. How about that?
Like that Dr. Phil episode where the kid slide, you know, she's like, how does that feel, huh? This fucking kid. Dr. Phil himself is like, I would choke this thing out. You know? But just like the brother said, you're gonna have them. Yo, they say Russia getting ready to shoot missiles on here. You know, and they might do this and that. Yo, it's gonna get crazy, bro. I think we in World War III. Oh, you think we in World War III? Oh shit, damn. What was I thinking this whole time? Maybe I gotta come and listen to you. What do you think we should do? I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. Hey, we gotta pray to God. Hear this thing. See, you have something.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say how in the time of famine, I forgot the point you were making, but it came to mind how and when Elijah, before he went on a journey, he was sleeping, and the Lord had an angel wake him up twice to eat, and that meal is sustaining for 40 days. So you can have it to where during the famine, you know, the prophets, we aren't eating as well. And you know, other people aren't eating, but they're getting hungry and we aren't.
Right. Yeah, Lord could definitely do that. Easily. Because the scriptures say the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a broken spirit who can bear. So and look, when you get into a time of chaos, luxury is the last thing on people's minds. Okay, the little pleasure and luxury and that's out of people's minds. The main thing is survival. That means protection, food, medical. These are the main things that people are looking for when all hell breaks loose. Protection, food, and health. Yeah, mental stability. So you don't bug out and lose your mind. And a lot of people don't even have that. They don't have that in their regular life. You have people that have mental breakdowns. They melt down over the simplest things. Bro, just make a damn decision. Oh, no, they told me this and I was in a meeting and they were talking about this and I don't know what to do. And you thinking, damn, what's going on? Is it a big deal? Like, what happened? And they just said, no, my manager was telling me that, you know, I gotta clock in a bit earlier. You were crying for 2 weeks about your manager telling you gotta clock in a bit earlier. How about you wake up early and go clock in a bit earlier? I don't know, baby, it's just a lot of work and I can do this. So you start thinking like, oh, shit, I gotta watch you in that time. you ain't making zero decisions. Matter of fact, you gotta keep your mind shut, your mouth shut the whole entire time.
Saying how on this side of the world, poor is more privileged to expect more than what they're going to be receiving during the days of judgment. But like right now, I'm not in a position of power of standard. The average American citizen is at at least $1,000. I ain't even there. But my children are on a level of acting privileged because they're not used to canned goods. And I'm like, yo, it's gonna be a time where canned goods is a damn lavish meal.
Right.
You know, so people on this side of earth right now, man, they living it up and they don't know how real it's gonna be because they so used to the convenience of a corner store or something that they could grab real quick, air fryer, microwave, and stuff like that. But y'all gotta realize that the Lord gonna give you what you need in the days to come, and if you don't repent, He ain't gonna give you that. So y'all gonna be dealing with famine, and y'all gonna be like shell shocked I don't know if that's the right word, but y'all gonna be in a high intense struggle to survive because y'all not used to sleep. Y'all not used to having necessity. I bought bare necessity even when I got money to get regular food. You know, a fine full-course meal, I would eat out the can just to, remain humble. Y'all not humble enough, but the Lord about to humble y'all.
Yeah, they're not cut out for that life. And the Lord, and just like the brother said, the Lord is about to humble the world, man. You're like, oh, what was that? Can what? Peas? We gotta eat peas? Like, bitch,
So breakfast, lunch, and
you ain't hungry enough. That's what it is. Send her to the wilderness, she'll be back right. And that's what the Lord's gonna do. Hey, some of you, the Lord will have mercy on you, but some of you are very spoiled, and what you need is that hardship of you being by yourself. Eventually you're gonna realize, because right now, what if people get to a point where they get to the breaking point and they cry? And when they cry, they think that crying is like the ultimate end all be all, because at that point it's like everybody's like, all right, let's chill out. No. In that time, you're gonna cry and cry until you realize how pointless it is to even cry, because it doesn't do anything. And sit there. Yeah, you're just gonna sit there and cry. And 3 days are gonna go by and people gonna walk past you, you're just gonna be sitting there crying until you realize nobody's gonna come for you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to help you. It's just you. Now get your ass up and do what you got to do. And that's what they're gonna circle right back to. You know what? I think I'm gonna the can. I think the can beats after all. yeah. Well, but I think you got a point.
I said what you just that phrase just said. Somebody on not cut out for it or something like that. And essentially, it made me think of those jigs that want to be hard, that want to tend to be thugs and all that.
Right.
When the time of Jacob's trouble, you're gonna get your time to shine. A lot of you want to stretch your hard, that you come from that lifestyle, which you want to be like those what I like to call those cartoon characters. Pretend to be like a little Dirk or whatever on that. You're gonna get your time to be that in the time of Jacob's trouble. You want to be a killer, a thug, and all that? Well, don't worry. The Heavenly Father has the perfect scenario for you. It's called Jacob's trouble. And in Jacob's trouble, you get to be that thug, that killer. And you get to be around real killers and things. But the thing like that is that the Lord's going to have a different spin on some of these people. They ain't going to be that stuff that you see on the music theater. I'm sorry, a music video or the movies. This is going to be real life where you get bow, 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 and you just drop. And you fall how you land. It ain't like in the movie theaters where you see somebody and they looking all cool and nah, none of that. You going like this, looking like this in the corner. And then you're going to have to leave your homie there. Like in the air. Yeah. You see that? But really, not like that movie stuff. It's real, actual blood and things like that. You're going to get your shot to be like that.
And they got the memes with Chief. They said they sent Chief Keef to Iran. Like he gonna do something, because he talks about in his music about being a G,
Bang bang.
shooting niggas, bang bang, But that nigga can't even run a mile. How many blunts he smoked?
Right.
You put him out there, he gonna be shark food instantaneously, man.
You do.
They might vaporize him on as soon as his foot touched the ground, and you just see an explosion, and that's it. That's the end of Chief Keef, all right?
That's it.
Y'all got it fucked up, man.
They changing
We got out.
They changing the stipulations on enrolling into the military.
Yeah.
They making it where they could put you in the war even if you ain't trying to join. You know what I'm saying? That's elevating the level of how old you can be. So if you think you're an OG on the street, they can snatch your ass up.
Yeah.
47 years old, when you think that you can avoid the drive, these drive stipulations is about to change on y'all, just like everything else.
Yeah. And I got you real quick. People think that, they won't draft me because, I'm gonna just tell them I don't know how to fight. You think they're sending you there because you know how to fight? They don't give a damn if you know how to fight. They just need numbers. That's it. They need bodies to throw up in there. Their ultimate mindset is, look, when it comes down to it, it's really gonna come down to a war of missiles anyway. You were just we can't have a ground invasion without people. We need you to go there and be cannon fodder to give us a reason to say, oh look, they killed 100,000 of ours. We gotta escalate this even more.
A lot of people were hating on so-called illegal immigrants, But you're gonna find out them niggas, they're not gonna be able to be called into the draft. Well, then again, they can flip that and say, listen, we'll give you citizenship if you go up in there.
Right.
But if you're a citizen, you automatically drafted. So you see how the Lord gonna flip things, because everybody wanted to have that citizenship, and now you're gonna see, oh, you're a citizen, right? Well, go over there and fight the Persians then.
Right.
You know, and that's gonna be all of the things that were blessings unto you are gonna turn into a curse. Being an American at one point in time will consider like, oh yeah, like everywhere you step, like motherfuckers got to watch out, because you know, it's like this is the top nation. But now it's coming to the point where by this situation with this war, they have created the most hatred that America has ever experienced in the whole existence of this country, man. You seen the one AI video they did where it was like the Gadite, the Iranians did the AI video where it was a Gadite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had the Baal statue and basically showing the history of America's misdeeds and wickedness. So that's all coming to the forefront. And it's not like they can deny it. It's all true. All right. But they'll just have Nero go up there and lie, you know, and just say, yeah, the sky ain't blue. Don't worry about it.
That's it.
I'm looking up right now. It's blue. No. See, something's wrong with you.
Yeah,
That's fake news, nigga.
Fake news.
Yep. 2 Ezra 5:9. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Right. So, you know, salt water is being found in the sweet, basically a natural order being put upside down. All right. And also friends destroying one another. Okay. Like that movie, we always bring it out, Leave the World Behind. The dude said, listen, man, yo, I known you for mad years, man. Are you not going to help me out? Said, listen, man, this is different. They had the shotgun right there. And that's the thing, like, you Jakes don't understand. Either might smile in your face, you might have a few coworkers at your job that you cool with, and you think shit is copacetic. But when shit hits the fan, they're going to come into their nature, and they're going to be looking out for them. All right? They're not going to give a damn about you. And that's why the message of the nation of Israel, of the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American, you knowing who your people are is going to be important in that day. Because you dumbass Jake, you're going to be running to Elam, running to Esau. Help me. They're not going to give a fuck about you because they never did. They only had to play the part because it's politically correct in society that you got to deal with Jake. Right. Well, when the time comes, they're not going to give a fuck. They're going to come into their true nature. Like, nah, fuck you. We never liked you anyways. You see? But y'all got that's the thing. Jake is so simple-minded, you know? The other nations, they think like that. Actively, right now, they're like, nah, we got to look out for ours. We got to get our community together. Jake over here, they'll be more in favor of Esau than their own people, than their own self. But it said the other point I wanted to get was with hiding itself, you know, and that's going into what the brother's been saying. You know, that's the state of the people right now, gross darkness. Okay, and they're finding out that they're not going to have an access to that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because when the internet shuts down, when shit hits the fan, this right here that people take for granted and they walk right by, they're going to be begging for this right here. They're going to be begging for some kind of answers, okay? Because nobody has it. I was mentioning a lesson, Gerald Celente, these other different geopolitical dudes, you know, they know a lot about things that's going on in the world and politics, but they still don't understand why.
Right, exactly.
You know, like he was talking and he was like, he says he's a warrior for the Prince of Peace, Gerald Celente, right? Because I believe he's a Jake. But he's against what's happening. At the end of the day, if you were for the Lord, you would understand this is all his will. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. So just like the Assyrian was wielded as that axe that the Lord wielded, is the same way he's wielding Trump. So you wouldn't be mad at it. You'll just break it down and say, listen, yeah, he's making stupid moves, but that's the Lord's will ultimately. They're trying to come against it because they want peace. But they don't understand the Lord is a man of war. And we're in a time of war. It even says in the book of Ecclesiastes, there's a time for peace and a time for war, a time for love and a time for hate. Hey, we're in a time to hate wickedness, man. You see? And the time of love is going to come in the kingdom. All right? And even now, we have love for one another, but those are for those that are doing the Lord's will, doing the work. All right? But point being, wit is hiding itself because these guys, they don't have the understanding. All right? As much as they know, oh, yeah, the markets, the this and that, we tracking the trends, blah, blah, blah. But they still don't understand why or how all this is happening. It's by the means of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai controlling it. So we understand that. That's the greatest blessing and the greatest advantage that we have is knowing why things are happening. That gives you comfort and peace, man. Right? I hear brothers speaking, and it's just automatically comfort and peace. You just feel the stress leaving your body because you're like, man, I'm at peace. I know the truth. You know? I'm gonna read the 10th verse and I'm gonna pass it. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon earth. So sought of many, they're gonna seek the knowledge of wisdom and understanding. And they're not gonna be found because it's gonna be a famine of the word. All right, they're already talking about, you know, if Iran cuts these cables, then that's gonna be an internet blackout. Now, they could just do it themselves and blame it on Iran. With AI and everything, man, they could say anything and do anything. They're gonna continue to spin this. There's never gonna be a point where Trump is gonna come out and say, yeah, we fucked up. He's just gonna keep spinning. Nah, we won. We already won. Nah, the Iranians, now they lost, so they sore losers, so they gotta fuck with the global economy and continue to put it on them, instead of admitting that he's the origin of where it came from. They struck first. And even the Pentagon said, yeah, there was no evidence of anything that Iran had a nuclear weapon, but they did it anyways. All right, they don't give a fuck, man. Did he ever give a damn? You know, this man, you're talking about the same man that sold his birthright for a morsel of meat. He's going to crash out. Okay, that same nature of how he is. And that's why it's important to understand the different nations in the scriptures, man. You know, like understanding the nature of Ishmael. He's a wild man. So then when we look at how these nations act, we expect that type of behavior. Esau, blessing being a sword, him being short-sighted, him being a carnal man. So then with the behavior he has, it makes sense. It's part of his character. You know? But yeah, and the last part it says, then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon earth. And incontinency is basically people having no self-control. You know, acting wild, just all the shit that people do. That's indicative that we're at the end. Because people be doing some shit, you're like, damn, what were you thinking? You know, what was going through your mind when you decided, people be doing TikTok videos. I be seeing these videos, a dude will do it, try to do a backflip on the side of a building, and he crash and fall off the building, And it's like, you didn't see that shit coming? Especially these other nations, Moabites, Elamites, they be dying some hilarious ways, man. Because that's incontinency, man. People just doing it all for the gram, doing it all for attention. All right, that's because wit is hiding itself. All right, and that represents them not having knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and also the way of truth, which comes through the Lord's service, the prophets, being hidden from them, to where they can't, even if the people walk by and they hear us speaking, but it might as well be another language. We might as well be speaking Swahili, because they just can't get it. It's not clicking. Y'all got it. Right. That's another.
Yeah, because I was reading something earlier today. I was skimming through it, concerning what's going on here with the intensification of this war with Iran. All right, which they said that the Houthis have joined the war, in coalition against Israel and the U.S. Okay, so it's only gonna get worse and worse. And just as you think, oh, the Strait of Hormuz, that might be the, it's not that bad. No, it can get very, very, very bad. Remember, this is a escalatory war, and we're only in the beginning of sorrows. Okay, we're still only in the beginning of sorrows. Go ahead.
There's an article on Zero Hedge. The title is U.S. suffers heavy casualties in Iranian strike on Saudi base as Houthis enter war with missile launches on Israel.
Mm-hmm. So how are you going to have peace when the Houthis just joined the war? They're like, yo, we ready. We just got up in here. We about to blow some shit up. And I'm taking everybody with me.
Effective strike because they just captured like 100 or so Delta Force soldiers. And that's like America's front line, like the top line of military. So for them to be able to take down 100 or so Delta Force members, they delivered a devastating blow to this so-called superpower. So right now, we in Isaiah 47 where it will no longer be called delicate. the virgin will no longer be called delicate because they getting hit with not soft targets. They getting hit with heavy things that make the whole world look at it like, yo, ain't y'all a superpower? Why y'all getting hit with such a devastating blow like that? That's it.
Hey, you know what's gonna happen is that I got you, Aaron. Eventually, when they start seeing this thing get out of hand, a lot more people are gonna be on the side. It's gonna be like when you see civilians, if you do, right, if they haven't cut off the internet, when you see civilians online, they're gonna be afraid, like afraid, shit like scared. You know, when they have their, because right now, when you have this geopolitical interviews by individual independent journalists, they still speak with a sense of calm, like, you know what, and a sense of patriotism on the anti-Western front. You know, like Iran has been preparing for this for X amount of years. They know what they're doing. This is strategic. The U.S. is going to take an L. Yeah, wait till somebody drops a nuke. And then the rest of the countries are like, oh, yeah, okay, no, it's on now. At that point, when they talk about it, they're going to be like, yo, all right, everybody needs to calm down and exercise restraint because this is not good right. It's not good right now. But they're going to realize it's out of their hands. This guy, you were talking about that Professor Zhang, he said something. He said, or Balaam, he said, yeah, that's hey, yeah, you might be Balaam coming back if you're watching this video. But he said sometimes people start wars and they think that they're gonna control the wars, and the wars end up controlling them because they start with certain goals in mind, and then when things start taking a toll, a different route, they gotta follow it now to try and get ahead of it. Because people, they think that wars are fought on paper. Wars are not fought on paper. What you can't account for on paper is the sentiment in people, the will to keep fighting, the terrain of the land, like all of these different things. You can't fight a war on paper, and a real life war is much different. So wait till them when things start going nuclear, you'll see just how afraid everybody is at that point. But they're not gonna be in control because the Lord is gonna have the minds of these rulers set. Like if you think you just struck Russia with a nuclear missile, you think they're gonna exercise restraint? No, they're gonna say, no, you already fired it off. We're gonna blow your shit up. You know? Maybe taste wet shit. You got it, bro.
Hey, Khan, like you said, regarding Professor Zhang, which I believe he might be somebody who was set up. You know, he kind of came out of nowhere, but we'll see, right? But basically, going into like the unpredictability of war, right? Especially now in today's day and age where America is waging war on different countries through AI. It's not really a man sitting behind a computer and then determining, oh, this is what we should do, because all those people, that's what the scriptures tell you in the book of Jeremiah, and I'm going to get that next, is the wise men that are out of that have been basically vanished out of Teman, right, out of Edom, because for so long, remember, Americans in general are predominantly Edomites, and they're wicked. Okay, so in the American military, for so long, they always had to have a balance of good, which would be Jakes and people who have a conscience. So they are the ones that will bring the balance of, yo, let's not go full throttle. Let's do this strategically so we can avoid casualties and do this and so on and so forth. Right. So you have top U.S. generals that were Jake that will bring in that balance so things don't go awry. Right now, you got Hexeth and you got all these different Edomites. There's I think his Admiral Cain. All right, his name is actual Cain. That's his name. Okay, and he's normally side by side with Hexeth. And they ask Hexeth a question he can't answer. He looks at him like, okay, you gonna answer for me real quick? So those people are there, and I believe I just saw an article that Hexeth had kicked out a few Jakes that were high-ranking members. He kicked them out because he said, Trump wouldn't want to be seen standing next to a couple of black people. So, like, we gotta have to get you guys out of here type shit. Right. So a lot of these top generals that are looked at as, respectable, that are Jakes, that are predominantly not Edomites, they're being kicked out from these high positions of influence in the military. So now you're putting in people, belligerent niggas like Hexeth. What's going to happen is every decision that's going to be made is not going to be done through conscience. It's going to be done through irrational behavior, right? Like some Edomite shit, like, yo, we're going to take over. We're going to be bombing you. It's going to be death and destruction from the skies every day. Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? That's mad crazy, right? So for him to be using that, or even Trump, the way Trump speaks, that's a depiction of the spirit of America as it stands right now, which is complete crazy. Like, there's no wisdom here. Okay, for your president to say, "Oh, I'm gonna go take Cuba." They asked him, "Cuba?" He's like, "Cuba," and then he sits there like a little fat kid, like he just sitting there like, "Yeah, I could do whatever I want with it. I'll just take it. I can take it. I can free it. And then they're like, "So are you gonna do what you did with Venezuela?" He said, "I can't tell you that. Can't tell you that. We got a lot of plans. And he's like a little fat spoiled kid, and he's just sitting there, like, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't look real. When you look at presidents of old and they gave a speech, it was serious. This guy, he gives announcements on Truth Social. Like, he gives a post, and it goes, the whole world takes it seriously. Like, dude, you didn't even give a speech. There's nothing official about what's going on. It doesn't make sense. It's like you're living in a Twilight Zone, bro. Like dead-ass Banana Republic, for real, for real. And this is an example of what the Lord said will be happening in these last days. This is the beginning of lawlessness. When your president behaves this way, it trickles down. Everybody else thinks, well, if he's not being held accountable, his name is on the Epstein files, and he's able to do this shit and get away with it. Why are we gonna be pressed on anything that we do? So people are gonna storm the streets and wild the fuck out because there is no accountability anymore. Okay, you have less educated people, and that's why you have more stupid people who come up with stupid laws. Okay, all these lawmakers are dumb as hell because they don't have proper education anymore. All right, but I got this quick precept here. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 7. It says, concerning Edom, right? Because why is it that the whole world is looking at what's going on and they're saying America and Israel is a problem? Those are the two predominant Edomite countries, Edomite nations. You got, of course, the European nations as well, but they are kind of tied in with Asian countries because they're on the same continent. So they kind of have to move a certain way, and they're in the East compared to the West. You see what I'm saying? So it says here, concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? The answer is yes. Okay, they've kicked out all the men of wisdom who give wise counsel to Trump and say, hey, you might want to step back or you might want to do it this way. They kicked all them niggas out. And they've brought in people who swore an oath to pledge to serve any interest of Palantir or Oracle or Israeli defense contractors and so on and so forth, like Raytheon and what's the other one? Lockheed Martin, all these different companies that are aligned with the military, like as Dwight Eisenhower said, the military industrial complex. And he was in the military. Okay, before he became president, he served in the military. So he knows what the hell he's talking about, man. All right. And he said the biggest problem for America from now to the very near future is the military industrial complex. And that's what you're seeing right now. All the wars that are being waged is because they have this technology and they feel like they got to use it. Right. And the games that they're about to play very soon, that's what the scripture says, a time like never before. You have to have a madman in office in order to do mad things. In order for them to be like madmen sparing none, you got to have the top nigga who's a madman. And that's what you see now, that cruel Lord. Okay? Yeah, brothers got it.
Right? It says, continuing the article, Houthis enter the war. Houthis launched their first missile barrage on Israel since Operation Epic Fury. Red Sea shipping could once again be under direct threat.
Yep. And so you got the Strait of Hormuz, and now because if you have war, and now the Red Sea is now being affected because of the Houthis in Yemen. Now you got a bigger problem on your hand because Saudi, the Arabian Peninsula, with a big fraction of that region with Saudi Arabia, what they've been trying to do is redirect their oil from going, because the eastern edge of the Gulf countries is mainly places like Kuwait and Bahrain and all those the United Arab Emirates and so on. They're closer on the east side to the strait. On the west side, Saudi Arabia, they can reroute that way through the Red Sea, But when you got the Houthis in here, like, nah, listen, bro, we joining on the side of Iran. They could say, now you ain't taking shit on either side of this peninsula. You're gonna stay right up on this dry land, nigga. You're not going to the east and you're not going to the west. So now what's up? At that point, the world's gonna be so cooked beyond cooked. You thought it was bad. Now you ain't even seen what they got in store for this place.
That's going to be devastation, man. And That's spiritual. How the Lord, that's the Lord being the ultimate chess master. He set Yemen right on that side to cut that side off too.
Yep.
You thought you were good there, cut that off. Strait of Hormuz cut. And for all the talk of Trump, you know what he's been saying, have they opened the straits? No, it's still the same status. The price is still going up.
Yep.
And like you said, a lot of the geopolitical guys, they still can't wrap their mind around how really bad it's about to get because they're still thinking on a rational level. Our job as the prophets, the hopeful prophets, is to expect the unexpected. So, for example, one of them the dude that looked like Skeletor. What's his name?
Full spectrum.
Yeah, Full Spectrum. He's like, well, this is not directly affecting Americans yet, but it will soon. Nigga, what do you mean? Look at the price of gas. It's already up towards $4 a gallon. So how is it not affecting them? You know, but again, that's when you kind of see people true colors come out. Because now he's kind of panicking, like, yeah, you know, they're downplaying it a little bit. Some of them are keeping it raw. All right, like that Jang nigga, I ain't gonna lie. He'd be like, yeah, listen, this is the end of the fucking world. he ain't it's in words, you know. But a lot of them, they kind of showing their true intent that they still attached to this world. So yeah, it's bad. There's gonna be some suffering. You know, Dabu, he be saying, well, there will be blowback. Nigga, it's gonna be more than blowback, nigga. All right, it's gonna be devastation. It's gonna be famine. You talking about billions of people are about to die, man.
Yep.
All right, leading up. Well, you're gonna have a lot of death leading up to the Armageddon, and then in Armageddon, billions are gonna die.
Yep.
So they still don't have an understanding of the scope of how much of a judgment is about to happen.
That's right. Because the prophets are always going to be a step ahead, you know, because the Lord reveals his secrets onto his servants, the prophets. Now, whether you believe it or not, because a lot of people, they're really disingenuous when it comes to it, because they'll never stop and admit, oh, okay, if we go back years ago, you guys were saying this, like exactly this, the exact same countries. Look at how we got here. Who did this? Who started this? Was it Ukraine? Was it India? No, it was Israel. And who did they go at it with? Iran. Is that not what you can go back to videos even of the apostles from 2014 when Obama was in freaking office talking about these same nations. You know, but they won't come out and say, yeah, you know what, you're right. You've been telling us this from the jump. Nah, they're not going to. But it's because they're still able to forget about the thing. Like, people are able to distract themselves from reality through the pseudo reality. They put their head back into the VR headset, which they call reality, and they go to work and they come back home and they think it's just going to continue that way. And I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time. One day, like we were talking about earlier, one day where it just seems like a regular day, another nice day, and everything changes. And then just like the C-19, where you couldn't focus on anything but the C-19 and what was going on, that's when it's going to set into people's minds. Except once again, they're not going to need to get on TV to do propaganda videos about case numbers going up here and there, because this time, this is something that's going to be real. Okay? Your Uber price is going up, you know, the bus fare going up, and then soon buses ain't going to be going certain places. They're going to tell you, look, because, you know, buses, they come on a schedule, right? Eventually, they might tell you, look, this bus is only running twice a day on weekdays, and then not at all on weekends. And then it might just tell you we're only doing certain days on weekdays, you know? And it's just going to keep on escalating just like that. But go ahead on that.
It says, serious U.S. casualties in Saudi base assault. Iran fires 6 ballistic missiles and 29 drones at Saudi Arabia's Prince Sultan Air Base.
Yeah, and the thing is, they said they were going to do it. They said, hey, if you attack our energy infrastructure, we're going to light up the east over here. And then what do? They attack the energy infrastructure. They attack their steel plants. They attack. So what do you think they're going to do? They're already in the war. They're ready. They're activated. You know? And this is how the elites, using their puppets of Israel and the US and so on, this is how they control the game. They control the board. You see, you can control your opponent by physically grabbing their hand and making them make a move, or by playing psychological warfare with them and triggering them to do certain things. Okay? Like I said, these global elites, which is really the Lord controlling them, but they're playing 6D chess. Okay, they're playing with real players on a real board. This isn't rehearsals anymore, and they know, okay, what is the full extent of Iran's capabilities? They run simulations. They run very accurate simulations that tell them, if you do this, this is the most probable cause or the most probable aftermath that will happen. And they look at, well, which problem can we cause, which will give us the best path to implement our solution? How do we get you in a position? Because they have to make it seem organic, but they also then have to put you in a position to where it doesn't matter what you try to do. Option 1, 2, or 3 are going to lead to the same path, the same road. So that's why we put America is trapped in this war. If they retreat, it's bad. If they go on, it's bad. If they don't do anything, it's bad. If they were to just stay the way they are right now, they would take an L. If they were to retreat, they would take an L. If they were to start a full ground invasion of Iran, it would be an L. And Putin is waiting for that. Okay, the point of them being the guard is they're waiting for that. They're not going to act proactive. Look, Putin is not an idiot. Okay, he sees what's going on. China, they're not idiots. They see what's going on. Why would they jump right now and send their forces into Iran? For what? No, they don't need to do that. They recently they said China mapped out the ocean floors by Taiwan. I forgot what ocean that is, Indian or something like that. But they mapped it out already. So they're waiting, and they're waiting for the U.S. to spread themselves thin. They're waiting. They're like, yeah, go on ahead, man. We're just gonna sit right here. We're gonna help Iran to keep them up, but we're gonna sit right here and watch what you're gonna do, because we got interests over here as well. And the second you send them forces over there, we know you have to be invested over there. We know you're gonna need, because China and Russia, and they communicate with Iran. They know Iran's capabilities. For Iran to say, look, we mobilized 1 million troops, and they're ready to create hell for American soldiers. They know, yeah, they're gonna keep you busy for a while. And when you're busy over there, that means you're not busy over here. We want to talk about, well, if you touch Taiwan, we ain't gonna do shit. They get worried about Iran. We're gonna go up in there and take Taiwan. And then Russia's gonna say, well, yeah, shit, where are those arms to defend Ukraine now? Oh, right, they're over there in the east. Okay, let's do what we gotta do. Because that's exactly what you did. You did that to Venezuela. You trying to do that to Iran. Why can't we do that to Taiwan? Why can't we do that to Ukraine? And once we're done with that, you're gonna see us over there in the east ready to meet you, nigga.
To add, if I may, that that's natural for a superpower to have control of the nations that's around it. But Babylon has so much pride that they think, well, we're the only ones that could do that. Well, China's going to start doing that. Russia is doing that with Ukraine. So that's what you're going to go back to that kind of sense of like regional, like America's getting kicked out of all these other places. So what are you going to have now? The whole world getting ready to get that wrath prepared to fire those arrows upon Babylon. Yep. They're getting kicked out of the Middle East right now. All of them bases are decimated, man. I think they said it was like 13 U.S. bases that are completely, they can't function anymore. They're done. All right, so then what are they going to fall back on? Like you said, that nuke.
They're going to use that gun. You had something, Haran? I don't know if I saw your hand moving over there. Okay, let's go back into that.
And then Friday attack that wounded at least 15 troops. AP.
Which most of the time, the casualties are much higher. They just don't report the full thing. Okay, and then, by the way, they've already decided they're going to send troops in there. Not even that they're going to. They are already doing it. Okay, and I'll give you an example, and then we go back to the article. When we say watch what they do and not what they say, they said, we're not. I mean, Trump comes out and says, when they ask him the direct questions, why would I tell you that, right? Why would I expose that to you? But then they start sending them troops over there, and then they say, okay, we're sending an additional 10,000 more, and then we're deploying them over there. So what they're telling them in the military is that this is World War III, but what they're telling you on the news is that we're negotiating peace. That's not; those things are not adding up. Oh wait, you're negotiating peace and everything is all right. Why are you increasing the age for the draft? Or for, let me say, army enlistment from 30 something to 42. Why are you doing that? Why are you putting measures into place to automatically enroll people in here? What's going on there? And I wouldn't be surprised if they start. That's it. I wouldn't be surprised if they start to add more and more measures as to how to get you into that war, because they're like, look, we know that we're going to be grabbing your ass up and throw you up into a uniform and sending you over there. They will implement a draft. They're going to implement a draft, and like we were saying earlier, when majority of the men are gone, who's going to be here to protect you? Because you're still going to have people that are going to be here as things start to get worse and worse over here. Go ahead.
AP late night strike targeted Bushehr nuclear power plant for third time of war. Gulf states under sustained fire, casualties mount.
Yeah, them Gulf states are getting hit. They're getting rocked. And once again, Iran is telling them, look, in fact, they told U.S. and Israel employees in these industrial plants, they said, listen, don't come to work tomorrow. All right, you better evacuate ASAP because we're gonna blow this thing up. So they're letting you know, like, look, we're not interested in civilian casualties. That's why we're giving you warnings. Israel and Iran, they said, Israel and U.S. said, fuck that. You know, we're just gonna blow it up overnight. I think recently they said they destroyed a technology university in Iran. I think in one of the most recent strikes that they just had over there. Go ahead.
6 wounded in missile strike on Abu Dhabi. Bahrain intercepts waves of missiles and drones near the United States Fifth Fleet base.
Yeah, and them people in those countries who are actually experiencing this like day by day, they tell you they get alerts every couple of seconds. There's alerts going off on their phones. They're not in the same mindset as people that are over here. Okay, they're not. They're over there terrified because they're like, yo, with how these close calls are, at any moment, one of those could make it through, and they can be the building that you're in, and then boom, you're gone. So their heart is beating. You sleeping in the night, and then you just hear loud. I mean, them sirens are loud. Okay, those you think those stupid the annoying EMT? Yeah, you think those are annoying? You think those are loud? No, these nuclear defense systems, they're very loud, and those that impact the blast wave of that shakes buildings. So imagine it actually hitting a building and these are like rockets and like drones and not even advanced high-tech missiles that we're talking about here. You got missiles that you don't even hear it. You're just gonna be one day you eating cereal and then you take one bite and you in the spirit world. You don't even know how it happened. You're confused because you're like, wait, what the hell happened? Where the cereal bowl at? You know, you see is you in the oh shit, okay, the angels over there now. They explain it to you what happened. Because that's how fast you can be taken up out of there. Now there was a video I saw. Oh man, there was a video I saw. It was in Iran. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you take care of that. Yeah, so this time you're gonna move it. He's gonna move it. Yeah. Thank you, boss. So that's me. I'm dope. I'm talking. So in the video, you had this Iranian woman. So you had this Iranian woman, and she's recording as missile. I think missiles are hitting the place where she's at, and all you see is rubble. You see rubble, chaos, the dust in the air, and she's basically. And the caption was, "This is like her last moments," before obviously she got clipped. So she's recording, and she's running, and then boom, another impact hits. And I'm talking about like this shit it shakes. These impacts, they shake. So all you see is boom. And then I think like it either blew her into the side somewhere, but then you hear her, she was saying like something in she was reciting either some like Quran verses or like hadiths or something like that. Yeah, she was saying a lot. And they'll start saying their stuff about the Muhammad being this and that. Basically like those last sayings, and then eventually that's it. The camera stays on, but she's gone. And that's reality. So these dumbass Americans that are here thinking I'm gonna just wake up and go to Starbucks this morning. Meanwhile, somebody's getting blown up to bits over there the same very day that you out here drinking Starbucks. That's their reality right now as we're speaking, and that's gonna be your reality very soon. the Central Park, you know, the Empire State Building, the White House, all these places are soon enough, they're not going to be recognizable. That's when reality sets in. All right.
Oh yeah. Kuwait reports damage to Mubarak, Al Kabir Port, and Shuwak Port. U.S. expending billions on Operation Epic Fury. Battle damage and replacement of losses over the first 3 weeks of the war likely cost roughly 1.4 billion to 2.9 billion.
Well, when it started, they said it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, whatever amount they said. Well, guess what? It's been a month now. What's going on?
Those projections, they predicted that their missiles would hit enough targets where they cause intimidation factor. But those $1 billion worth of missiles are running out. And right now, the enemy, America's enemy, has the staying power to outlast their projection on their missile expenses. So the more that they missile expenses wear out, they got a lot of nukes. But when it comes down to them Scud missiles and them Patriot missiles, they running out of those things. But they hitting soft targets, and those soft targets are just enough to outlast their projected victory.
Yeah, that's like shooting RPGs or rockets from an RPG at somebody throwing rocks at you. Bro, you can find 20 to 30 rocks on the ground. RP, do you know how expensive that is and how much, you know, goes into actually making those? So you're wasting, like in this example, military grade weapons on rocks. That's like the equivalent of the so-called tit for tat. That's basically what they're doing. So like you said, yeah, they're losing money. And that's why they're like, we've already lost a lot. We can't just take an L. Go ahead.
Continuing, the Houthis have finally entered the war, greatly raising the stakes on what's becoming a multi-front engagement. Given Israel and Hezbollah have already been locked in a ground war in Lebanon, overnight saw the Houthis send a barrage of missiles on Israel, which is the first such strike since the U.S. began its Operation Epic Fury.
Yeah. So what is this? This is just another escalation in this war. Because it's the Most High's war. Matter of fact, let's get Joel 3 about waking up the mighty men. And that's what the Lord is doing. He's waking them up. You know, boom, 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 wake your ass up. And how is he doing that? With these events. You know, you go and you do this. And China came out and they told Iran, they said, which the Iranians already know. But they said, look, don't fall for this again, because the U.S. and so on, they're using this so-called peace talks again as a cover to buy time for them to send in their troops for that ground invasion. You know? Yep. Yeah, like the Zaquan posted. And about Israel, I mean Iran not using their advanced, because remember, if they've been planning for this for decades, they know, okay, it's not smart to go, wow, the first day you just start launching the best missiles you got. No, you don't do that. And the strategy they actually used is to wear out the missile defense systems, like I just gave the example, right? The person throwing those rocks, he knows eventually you're going to run out of RPG bullets, right? And also, he knows that it takes time. Once you launch it, you got to now get the little piece, you got to reload it again, and then you got to, boom, lock on the target. They could throw 3-4 rocks in that time. Matter of fact, they could go Benjamin style. You know, the scriptures say Benjamin, they were so accurate with the sling that they can hit within a hair's breadth. That's like a freaking strain. They could hit a strain of hair on your head. That's how accurate they were with the shit. No wonder they went against the rest of the 11 tribes and cooked them 2 days. Had the tribes going back like, Lord, what's going on out here?
Son of the right for real.
Yeah, son of the right for real. You know, they were lighting him up. He's so just stupid. Yeah, he is. You know, so they're like, yo, we gonna put on them THAAD missile defense, because that's what they do. They come in with like this bravado power, you know, on some like, yeah, we're gonna come up in here, we're gonna end it quick. And They're thinking we're gonna use intimidation and like fast, powerful, boom, 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 call it a day. We back for lunch on Tuesday. And then the shit don't go that way. And then they're like, oh shit, okay, now what? Now you in the ground war. That's what. Now you facing reality. That's what. Now you're going up against a nation that's been preparing. They've been waiting for you. Think about this. How certain did they have to be to plan for this for over 30 years? Literally planning scenario by scenario, damn near knowing your playbook better than some of your top generals. So you're wondering, why is the Ayatollah dead and they're still going? Yeah, because they decentralized their whole system. How are we taking out general? Because they're like, oh, we're going to do assassination and decapitation strikes. Oh, then they'll come out, yeah, we took out the, you know, this nigga's deep ass voice, monkey ears, BB. You know, his big ass ears and shit. We took out the Ayatollah and we got pictures and shit, so we're good. You know, but wait, why? What's still going on over here? Because now they're starting to realize, yeah, nah, this ain't this. And you know what's worse about it? The whole world is seeing it. So you can't come out and say, oh, we were doing this and we thought, no. The whole world is seeing it, and the whole world can form an opinion for themselves to say, you guys are not really in control. You guys are sweating right now. And you know what's worse? Iran knows that. Iran knows they have leverage. That's why they're not letting up. So they're like, yo, what you gonna do? And then on top of that, because now to add insult to injury, when they let a couple of ships pass through the strait, and then they threw that $2 million fine on them, they're making money. Russia's making money, and you are getting hurt. They found a way to really hurt you, hit you where it hurts, and you keep flying over and dropping bombs. So what are they doing? They're provoking you. That's why they told the American troops, come closer. They know that's what you're eventually going to do. So you think you're playing dumb, and they're like, no, we really playing you. We want you to get involved in here. Because the second you do that, you lose your whole shit. You are losing your whole shit. And just along with biblical prophecy, the whole world sees now that America loses this. There is no way where they win this. There is no way where they come out on top. No, they lose this. And they go down and down, down economically, geopolitically. Their image of power, it all goes down. Unless they try to do a extreme show of force and say, okay, now we're doing a ground invasion, and we're going to go take Karg Island. And that's going to be the place where you done messed up. That's when you step in shit.
Itching for that fate, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're itching for that fate. You know, when a nigga square up, you know he's ready.
Yeah.
Like, all right, what's up? And this nigga coming in like a drunken sailor, bro, all stumbling all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ready for that. No, look at your leaders, man. Trump is a buffoon, man. He makes a fool out of himself every single day.
Yep.
Every single day, he makes a fool out of himself. I got it.
Done.
Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men.
So you know what's going on right now? They're preparing war. They're preparing war. France came out talking about maybe like a couple weeks ago. Oh, they're gonna increase their nuclear warhead program, you know, within the next couple of years. Yeah, okay. If there's even a France to remain in a couple of years. So even the US, they're like, yo, begin production and speed it up immediately, like swiftly. So they're going into I think this is gonna go into that. When you start hearing them say begin production, when they start, where are they sending funding to? They're sending funding to their military campaigns. That's why Hexath is over here asking for another $2 billion. Is it 2 or 200? You know, $1 billion to fund this war. And some way, somehow, they got the money for that, but they don't got the money for anything else. So what are they doing? They're investing into war, defense systems, missiles, you know, whatever, you know, wartime materials they need. And it's not just the U.S. I think just recently, Japan also, they said the completion of one of their, I forgot what kind of system it was or carrier was just done, and they're gonna start testing it out. And this guy, Kim Jong-un, he's been ready. You've been ready since 2016. You know, Rocket Man, he's been ready since 20. You've been waiting, itching, like yo, what's up? You know, God.
Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Mm-hmm. Let them come up.
Now, where are they drawing near to? They're coming up to what? Where?
Beat your plowshares into swords,
Mm-hmm.
and your pruning hooks into spears.
And that's an example of what we're seeing now. Your plowshares and your pruning hooks are for agriculture. Okay? And right now, they're funding war. Swords and spears, those are weapons. Okay, weapons used for war, and that's what they're doing. They're funding war. Go ahead.
Let the weak say, I am strong.
And these are like, a lot of these are, they're not actions you just reverse in like a couple of seconds. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna send troops over there. We're gonna send all of our artillery over there. We're gonna look. You're actually damaging relationships with these countries. When you strip, you got North Korea launching missiles, and then you're gonna tell South Korea, hey, by the way, read our defense systems, by the way, because we're gonna go protect Israel over there. You're damaging relationships, but at the same time, it's showing you how serious this is. Would they really go that far to do all that if this was just, a bunch of rhetoric? No. Look at what they do. Look at the actions they're taking, and the actions they continue to take in the coming days and the coming weeks. Go ahead.
10th verse again. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears.
And that's not just America. That's all these countries doing that. I believe Russia recently came out and said they're giving Iran a more advanced version of the Shahed drones or something like that. So they're letting you know where they stand with it. Go ahead.
Let the weak say, I am strong.
And that's exactly what you see going on now. See, a lot of people prior to this war, they looked at Iran as weaker, much weaker. But that was because Iran used that so-called weakness to their advantage. They're like, well, we ain't gonna be able to, go tit for tat with you with your firepower. But that's not the only way to win a war, especially with what you're trying to do. You cannot control. Okay, see, bombing and taking control are two different things. You cannot if you go to Karg Island and you say, we're going to take this over, you need to occupy the place. Okay, that's how you take it over. You got to occupy the place. Even when you deal with war, you have men of old, when they would take over a nation, they would set up what? Garrisons. Why do you think they set up garrisons in certain areas? To maintain control. So when they go over there to the Middle East with their troops, and they say we want to take over Karg Island, that means you need to control and dominate that region. When you say we want to open the Strait of Hormuz, you need control over that region. Control doesn't come by dropping a couple bombs with some fighter jets and then moving on. Because the Iranians are going to come out of their mountain caves, and they're going to come right back to what they were doing before. Like a whack-a-mole. You whack, 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 and the mole keeps coming back up. So that's why they need to send in troops, because you need to actually go up in there. But once again, Iran is huge, man. It's vast. And it's not even just like it's just a plain terrain. And these people have been living there for a long, long, long time. So they know exactly every nook and cranny of it. They know where you would likely come from, because you can't just come from anywhere to try and get into the land. So the Most High is setting all this up perfectly. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is setting all this up, as we're reading, to fulfill what? His word. And this is about to be one of the most epic parts of prophecy that we're actually living in right now. And it's only going to get more and more intense. Go ahead. Yeah.
Joel 3:11. Come quickly, all you nations everywhere. Gather together in the valley. And now, O Yahweh, call out your warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hey, well, yeah, it said gather together in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. And what do we see? All the nations going to a central focal point out there. Okay, that's what's going on. All right, that's in the KJV. It says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, till the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as it says, round about, right? Round about where? To that region, because that's the valley of the Lord's judgment. That is the valley of the Lord's judgment, and people got to be real with themselves, man. We're at the point where you can't keep lying to yourself. You can't keep getting away with this. You can't keep lying to yourself thinking that it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be okay. Okay, reality is gonna set in. You're not gonna have formula for your babies. You're not gonna have food for yourself. You're not gonna have water to clean yourself. You're not gonna have tampons for yourself. You're not gonna have any of these things. They're gonna be scarce. They're gonna be hard to come by, and you're gonna beg and cry and wish that you had some means, somebody who could keep you safe, somebody who could protect you. It's cold outside, you can't stay warm. It's hot outside, you can't stay cold. You know, you can't stay cool. And the Lord is going to show you that the only way out is through him. But also that ship is sailed. So now you just asked out. And when that realization sets in, that you don't have, literally asked out, you know, and there's going to be people looking for that. Your Fleece Johnsons and shit. He going to let you know he ain't too old. You know, he going to go right back to, because in his mind, he's still in his prime. He may not have his teeth, but he got other things. You know, you going to find out why they put that nigga in solitary confinement. Maximum penitentiary. They said this guy used to harass the freaking, you know, the cameramen, the interviewers, they used to come up in there. They interviewing him. They're like, yo, you know, he said, I reached through the prison cell gates and I grabbed one of them and I dared him to say something. You know, it's this guy. So them guards, they warned. They said, look, you don't get too close to this one. He gonna sit there and call me. He's like in his prime. He was like a Rottweiler, because you know them Rottweilers, they just look at you. You know, I remember because he had, especially them big ones, they don't show no signs. They just look at you like they want to play. And you're like, oh no, he got the little brown spots on his face, and then boom, they just pounce on your ass. And that's this nigga waiting in himself. He sees something he like, he's looking at shit. So you just wait. You just wait. Whether you I'm making reference to this because they said that in the Boondocks, right? When they took them on a field trip to the prison cell, and you had the I guess the group leader, what he told Uncle Ruckus, he said, "Hey nigga, you ain't too fat and ugly, get raped." To Uncle Ruckus, bro. I say, yeah, you gotta watch these guys, man. The Lord gonna let him loose out here. He gonna give the fowls a feast, but he's also gonna give these starved out men a feast. And there's a whole lot of women out here, especially like I said in Second Esdras, I think it's 16, either 16 or 15. It says the women shall mourn, not having no helpers and not having bridegrooms, for the men are gonna die in the wars. So not only does it tell you that there's gonna be a draft, but they're gonna die in the wars. Unless the Lord has mercy on you, you going over there and it's not gonna be good. And they're gonna see hell live and direct. Because now, remember, this isn't gonna be just one, like, you're not going against just Iran. When Russian troops are in there, you're going against a coalition. You may see Chinese troops in there, you may see North Korean troops in there. You're like, oh shit. You know, like this is you got a multinational war. That was on that?
Oh, there was a little more.
Got it.
Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat.
That's what's going on. Oh, and also you had Trump basically came out and said, like, we ready to abandon NATO because they don't do shit. You know, so they shouldn't expect us to come and do anything for them. So what do you think them allies looking at you like? But as I said, let them be wakened and come over there. That's what's happening. They're wakened. All of them got war in their mind right now. Now all these nations are just waiting. Like, all right, so you know what I'm saying? Like, they're ready. They're like, okay, we know, like, we also got to get ready because on when it's go time, we got to be ready to go. Right?
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
And that's exactly what the Lord is doing. He said, because that place is also going to get hit with missiles. Okay? To judge all the heathen, these heathen nations that are going to be gathered over there. So this is going to be a war unlike any other. And it's going to start off terrestrial, and it's going to get extraterrestrial to the divine. And one last thing I'll say is very interesting. J.D. Vance, when they asked him about aliens, you know what he said? He said, I don't think that they're aliens. I think they're demons. That's what he said concerning the chariots and the UFOs. He said, I think they're demons. Now, it's very interesting because we say that they're angels, but you're saying that they're demons. So you're shifting away from them being something that is like foreigners from another country to something spiritual, but on the left-hand side. Yeah, exactly. You know, but he's trying to put that narrative to where people look at it as like a threat, you know, like a negative thing, because they're already priming the minds of the people for when Yahushua makes his return.
Like that, that movie, Nope. It depicted the chariot as like a demonic evil thing that was just pulling people up in there and killing them.
Look at that, you know. But hey, the Lord is setting it all up nicely. We're watching the Lord work. So, matter of fact, let's end it off with Psalms 119 and 126. And I don't know if you got anything, bring it up before we close it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, J.D. Vance, he's just nothing but a bitch, and the Lord's going to destroy him anyway. And all these other people, just like the Lord did with Yahoo and all these other people, you niggas are not invincible, and we keep saying that over and over again. You're not invincible, and the Lord will show you very soon how invincible you really are. All right. As a matter of fact, you niggas are susceptible to the most craziest diseases. I mean, if you have a nigga what's it, the governor of Minnesota,
Tim Walz?
Tim Walz, yeah. If you have a nigga like Walz that drinks horse semen, all right, and have to get carried into the damn emergency room, you know these people have issues, and they wear suits and ties, sit on these podiums, and give all these extravagant interviews, and make it seem like they got some brain or some sense in them. The kind of cannibalistic activities you niggas do is why you guys have all these diseases, and yet nobody want to talk about it. Oh, one day this nigga got cancer. He's dying from this. He's dying from that. Why is that? Huh? Why is that? You got all the money. How come you niggas is always dying? Not just of old age, but of some type of illness, right? Why is that? Okay, it's because you devils are nothing but devils, and you're going to be exposed. You're not going to call the angels demons to set up a narrative so that when they come down, you have every right to attack them because they're demons. Nigga, your name is J.D. Vance, and that's not even your real name. And you look like a female. You look like Erica Kirk's sister. Fuck out of here with that makeup shit, bro. Nobody takes these people seriously, and that's why they always constantly have to, come up with something that's is going to cause you to speak about them. If not, nobody's going. Who cares? J.D. Vance? How is he even a vice president? We kept saying that. How the hell does this nigga become a vice president? Where did he come from? Right? And what does he do? What's his role? What does he actually do? So if Trump was to die, this nigga is going to be the president? What does he do? What power did you don't see J.D. Vance and be, oh, that's a man right there. Nah. You see J.D. Vance be like, look at this bitch right back, bitch slap this nigga real quick. You know? But again, these are the people that run the world. So at least you understand, no matter what the narrative is, they always going to come in and try to invert it. So everything we say, they're going to say the opposite of it. But that's okay because we got the truth. And ultimately, the truth is what's going to confound everything they say anyway. All right, including their destruction. All right? Everybody's got it.
That's it. That's it. Let's finish off on that.
Psalms 119 and 126. It is time for thee, Yahweh, to work. They have made void thy law.
There you go. That's what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is doing, right? The Lord is working because the world has made void his law. And at the end of it, when all is said and done, we come out on top. So we're in the best position right now. And we're going to keep doing what the Lord has sent us to do. And Lord willing, he has mercy on us and our loved ones. But the rest of these people, man, boy, you're going to fulfill your role to the fullest, whether you like it or yes. But that's pretty much it, bro. Got anything else?
All right, one last one. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. That's it. Pretty much speaks for itself. The vision is here, not tarrying. Things are about to accelerate. Things are going to begin to happen very quickly right now.
Especially with the Passover coming up. So, let's see. April's coming up, and Lord willing, it's going to be a real heavy month. Real heavy month. Right. Anyway, with that, we're going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.
Shalom.